Well, today I am live here with Mr. Tim Braheem, and we're going to talk about something that I hear often from realtors, or sometimes something I feel. I feel that most realtors will tell you that loan officers are a dime a dozen, that we all just run pre-approvals, check the box, and move on. But the hard truth is, less than 2% of loan officers in the industry are actually functioning as true mortgage advisors. And when you work with one, it changes everything. So today I'm here with Tim Braheem, founder of the Loan Atlas, one of the most respected coaches in our business, and someone who once produced, personally originated over $1.4 billion of loans. Tim has trained some of the best loan officers in the country. He's also worked with many owners of mortgage companies. And today he's going to break down what separates the average loan officer from an advisor and why the difference really helps realtors close more deals. Tim, thanks for being here.
Hey Rick, thanks for having me, man. And just to be clear, that's not 1.4 billion in one year. That's 1.4 billion over the course of my career.
That's still incredible, incredible. And that's an amazing career.
Thank you.
So I found you because I decided to get back into origination a year ago. And I've taken lots of different coaching programs. The activity wasn't hard for me. That was easy. Call realtors, get in front of them. But then I started getting leads. And I started noticing that I wasn't converting to the level I thought. So I was talking to a friend, and he says, go to YouTube and look up Scriptapalooza, and you'll find some great scripts on how to convert more clients. So I went on there and I found a guy named Josh Metal, who I loved his framework. I loved the way he did it all. So I just cold called him and reached out, scheduled a time, and he said, "Do you know Tim Braheem?" I was like, "No." He's like, "You got to follow him. You got to come check out the Loan Atlas. Follow Tim. He's my coach." And I was like, "Well, if he's your coach, I definitely need to follow him because you're amazing. I want to be just like you." So I signed up for the Loan Atlas, and I am just blown away of what you built and the framework that you have for loan officers to separate themselves as a mortgage advisor. And I can say with confidence that I was able to convert several buyers in the last month that were shopping me because of how I am now presenting myself as a mortgage advisor, thanks to your program.
First of all, I'm glad to hear that you've had success. That's the most important thing. And Josh is a dear friend, and I'm glad that you called him. And thank you for being a member of the Loan Atlas. And it's a joy to teach and help people. So I'm grateful for the opportunity to do that with you and with many other people. So I think your question is, what does it mean to be an advisor versus just a regular loan originator? And how does a true mortgage advisor create separation and add value to realtor partners in ways that ones that are not true mortgage advisors don't? I think that the first thing that we need to always do when we're evaluating the relationship that we would have with a referral source, whether it be a realtor, accountant, financial advisor, divorce attorney, estate planning attorney, etc., is the first thing is we need to understand them. Like I think I kind of refer to this as empathic selling. So understanding what the needs are of the person that you're selling to, rather than making it about me, okay, which is where most people come from, which is, hey, I want to tell you all about me and what makes me great and all the things that I can do for you. It's like, whoa, why don't we just slow down, be quiet for a minute, and ask some questions and just understand what this person needs so you can truly evaluate whether or not you can meet their needs. That's number one, because how many times have you entered into a dysfunctional relationship with a real estate agent, let's say, where they want something from you that you can't even provide, but you don't even know that because you never even bothered to ask because you were in sell mode from the very beginning and you were just saying all the right things. Additionally, when we listen to people and ask them questions, we create a more even playing field. First of all, people want to be seen. Connection is very critical in today's market. And then from there, we can formulate a presentation that is truly authentic to meeting their needs as a quote unquote mortgage advisor. So let's use this formula for a minute, Rick. Like, what do you think most real estate agents really want?
To build a business that is to build a business that's longevity and eventually work themselves so they don't have to work as hard to generate leads,
Okay. Anything else?
close more transactions.
Okay, because that would be equal to what if they close more transactions?
More money in their pockets,
And more money in their pockets does what for them?
gives them a better life.
Okay, so what they're really looking for is a better life, just like you and I are,
Yeah.
just like most people are. Okay, so with that in mind, what we need to be able to display as a quote unquote mortgage advisor is to how we're going to meet that need. How am I going to give you, as a real estate agent, a better life? Okay, what are the components of a better life? More financial stability, um, more reliability on future income, right? Like some predictability associated with this profession that I'm in, greater life balance, right? So you're not like, and less stress, right? Like, I mean, like my job is actually joyful for me. Like I'm making good money. I'm working a reasonable amount of hours. I'm not wound up all the time. I'm not worried all the time. Like, would you agree that those are all things that real estate agents would want?
Absolutely. And
Okay.
lenders.
Yeah. Right. I mean, we're not that different. So let's remember something about a real estate agent. The nature of their compensation and the nature of their business is that they don't have the fortune that most loan originators have, which is to do a transaction for someone maybe every couple of years. Now, I realize over the last 3, 4 years, we haven't rewritten very many loans because rates have gone up and not down. But they don't have that good fortune. I mean, they're going to do a transaction for somebody on a buy side or a listing side of a deal maybe every 5 to 7 years on average. Okay, so there's a long cycle, but they get paid a lot of money up front. So because they get paid a lot of money up front, okay, your job is extremely critical to them that it gets done correctly. Because if you screw it up, if you cause the buyer to become disenfranchised, you will not only lose the deal for them potentially, but also hurt their future business potentiality if you didn't make them look good. Okay, so being able to display for a real estate agent as a true mortgage advisor, now we're going to get to the heart of the question: how you are going to educate and articulate and present yourself in a professional manner that is representative of what they would want as a referrer. Okay, so you make them look good, you edify them. Okay, you share with that buyer how fortunate they are to be working with this agent who is somebody who's exceptionally good at negotiating contracts. You've worked with that person for a long time, and then you stay in touch with them throughout the transaction proactively. And most importantly, is that you position yourself as a long-term player in the financial relationship with them. You know, there's a phrase that I used to use as an originator, which is my job really just begins when your first loan closes with me, because it's from there that it's my job to assist you in managing the largest indebtedness that you'll ever take on in your life. Most people that do what I do for a living just provide the debt and walk away. And I'm not going to make that mistake. I mean, there's always going to be opportunities in the future for us to find cheaper money for you. And it's incumbent upon me to have a system that tracks and proactively notifies you of opportunities to save you money. Now, when you explain to a potential realtor partner that this is what you're going to be saying to the referred person that they give to you, and how you're going to nurture the relationship, and how you're going to manage a CRM and proactively look for opportunities to save this person money, and be on the lookout for other transactions that they might do where you can loop that agent back in and get them another deal, that starts to get them excited. Additionally, so that's one, right? So really displaying, like, how many times as an originator have you sat down with your realtor prospects and partners and said, you know, it occurred to me that you probably don't even realize what it is that I do or know what it is that I say when you're kind enough to refer someone to me. And what I would love to do is I'd love to take you to lunch or bring lunch into my conference room. And I'd love to just treat you as a borrower, somebody that you've been nice enough to refer to me, and just take you through 15 to 20 minutes of my presentation that I do with them so you can see what it is that I do. They don't know what you do. You know, have you ever done that with them? Have you ever sat down with them and shown them your value proposition, how you're going to edify them as an agent during that process, how you're going to set up numerous transactions in the future, how you're going to stay in touch with the person? So that's super important that they understand why they're referring you. Number two, You need to be skilled enough in today's market, especially with inventory starting to accumulate, with an economy that we're in right now that is clearly starting to slow down, with agents that are starting to get extra worried because their volume is shrinking. You need to be able to display how you can make deals happen. Now, how can you make deals happen? One way that you can make deals happen is by being able to exhibit a presentation to a buyer that justifies why right now is a good time to buy a home, that shows them the long-term benefits of buying a home, shows them the historical nature of interest rates, shows them that when interest rates are high, which they are right now, that it's actually an excellent time to buy a home, that most people don't buy when it's blood in the streets, quote unquote. But
Hmm.
right now is a great time to buy because this is likely a short-term lending proposition for you. You'll probably only be in the loan 12 to 18 months on the outside. There'll be cheaper money available. Once that cheaper money is available, everybody's going to flood the market. There's going to be multiple offers, and the homes are going to get bid up in price. Now's the time to get in when you can negotiate a good price. You need to be able to display that presentation to a real estate agent. As a true mortgage advisor, let me share with you how it is that I'm going to explain to anybody that you're kind enough to refer to me why now is a good time to take action. And by the way, anybody that's been on the fence that you've talked to in the last 24 months and that you haven't referred to me because maybe we didn't know each other, I'd like a shot at them. Take the moment to introduce them to me and let me put them through my presentation. Let's see if we can get some people to come off the sidelines and take action. So that's a way to start to create new potential leads. Additionally, you need to be a master of product. You need to know how to do DSCR. You need to know how to do non-QM. You even need to have some private money lending sources right now. A lot of people don't realize this, but a little over 20% of all loans that were done in the calendar year of 2024 were done through private lending, also known as hard money, but it doesn't have to be that hard. It could be 9%, 9.5%. Okay. Being able to create deals that other loan originators can't create, that puts them, again, back to the formula, puts them in a better financial position, relieves their stress. Once again, your future forecasting for them, how you're going to stay in touch with people. So we're going to build a long-term business model here as partners. I'm going to be the one in charge of managing the CRM and staying in touch with them. And then finally, making sure, and this it seems like such the obvious thing, but making sure that you have a loan process in place, that when you do a loan with them, you look good, you make them look good, you don't make them worry, you proactively status them on what's going on the loan, especially when there's bad news. Most loan originators screw it up. A hiccup happens, an appraisal gets cut, a condition that's ugly causes a delay in being able to meet the financing contingency, and then they hide and they hope it'll go away. No, 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 no. You want to get out in front of that. You want to consistently be providing them with proactive news, and if solutions are needed, you provide the solutions. But you don't want to be the person that gives them a migraine headache when they work with you, okay? You want to be the person that when it's over with, they're like, wow, like that was actually great. That was way better than I have experienced in the past. And my buyer seems to be really happy. Oh, and by the way, you got to get a review from the buyer. Okay. And then you got to show it to your realtor partner. Hey, thank you so much for referring, Rick to me. As you can see, he was really happy with the services that we provided. Here's a copy of the 5-star Google review or Yelp review or whatever it is he gave. Thank you so much. I hope that we made you look good. By the way, I'm going to be doing a post-closing interview with Rick 30 days from now, and I'm going to be gathering some information. I'm going to make sure that I ask him to go to your social media pages and to edify you. I'm going to make sure that he gives you a review. So you go out and you help them get reviews. I mean, these are all the little things that I could go on and on forever, but I'm going to hit pause. I apologize for being a bit verbose.
I love it. There's a couple things you said that I wanted to jump in and comment on, but I already forgot because you gave out so many great nuggets. But there was something I did that you said. Oh, I'll probably remember later. But no, I love everything you talk about, and I love the thought of inviting the realtor into the conversation and showing them what you do. I have some realtor partners I started inviting into my calls. Like, we're a team. Let's do this together. And when they hear my pitch, they start telling other realtors in the office, this is what makes Rick unique. He focuses on before the transaction, during the transaction, and after the transaction. Like you said, most people leave.
Hmm.
So I think, as the industry is changing, as we're all having to showcase more value, the realtor has to showcase more value. The realtor has to do more than ever before. The loan officer needs to as well. And I think that's where you provide a platform to educate us on how to do that, not by ChatGPT, but from personal experience of over the years of dealing with thousands and thousands of clients and thousands of reps of different situations.
Yeah, the let's talk about AI for a minute, can we?
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
I've been spending a lot of time going down this rabbit hole. I was actually listening to a podcast this morning, and I'm not an AI expert, obviously, but I use it a lot. I mean, in both of my businesses, I'm using it as a thought partner. I'm using it on a personal level, on in numerous ways. And I've been spending a lot of time thinking about. And I actually was having dinner with Barry Habib the other night, 3 nights ago, and we were talking about this, and I was sharing with him that, by the way, before I continue, if you don't have highway in your arsenal, you're
Oh my
making a
gosh.
mistake. I
Oh
mean,
my
you
gosh.
have to be extremely well versed and educated on the financial markets and be able to display that wisdom to realtors and to buyers. So d- you need to have Barry and Dan Habib's wisdom in your tool belt.
And
So
and in before you move on, but in highway, that rate tracker, you got to
yeah,
show that to your clients. That's
the strike
amazing.
rate, the
Here,
strike
the
rate
strike
tracker.
rate. Yes, the strike
Yeah,
rate. That's
absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I've been, talking about the strike rate for probably a decade now, and they did an amazing job of creating like an incredible tool. And yes, you should make that a part of your presentation. It's incredibly impressive. So we were talking, and I was like, so many things are changing, and I all I can ever do in these types of circumstances, Rick, is just try to. I'm pretty good at, it's a blessing and a curse. I'm good about thinking about the future. Sometimes it takes me out of the present too much because I'm always thinking forward. And I try to envision, like, what's the world going to be like in 5 years for an originator? And let's assume the worst. Let's assume that AI is able to talk to borrowers and quote rates. Okay, I mean that's kind of the worst case scenario. It's not allowed to do that right now, but that could change. So how would I combat that? And I always, when it comes to scripting, like it's always super easy for me to come up with a script because I just tell the truth. The truth is the easiest script. So, what I would be doing right now is partnering with my realtors, and I'm piggybacking off what you said about bringing them into your presentations, and I would be educating them on AI. If you're a Loan Atlas member and you're watching this, you've been to our AI labs, they've been
amazing,
fantastic.
dude.
Yeah, I mean, they're giving you the nuts and bolts. I mean, we're going to keep accelerating those and getting into the black belt level. But right now, we're starting, foundationally to get. But you can take that content, Rick, and turn around and teach that to realtors. I mean, they would love you for it, right? So, how can you create greater efficiency for your realtors in their job by educating them on things that they can be doing to utilize AI to streamline their workload, their workflow, and their time management? Okay. And from there, my opinion is we need then to use that extra time to crank up the personal connection because I believe that's what's going to happen. It's already, like I was saying to my wife the other night, she asked me a question and I jokingly said back to her, I don't know, ask chat. And, and then, and then I said to her, I said, I said, actually, this is really interesting because I'm finding myself not asking people their opinion as much anymore because I'm just going to chat and getting the information there. Are we entering into a landscape where we don't ask people their opinion? We don't reach out to people as much. We don't run things by other people because we're just going to be on our phone with AI. And I think the answer is yes. What I believe is going to happen is that sociologically, we're going to feel lonely because it's not another human being.
And you want
And
to talk to somebody.
yeah, you want to talk to somebody
Good.
and that can help evoke emotion with you and that you can share emotion with. So, as an originator and as a realtor, what I would be doing, especially if the landscape headed into bots can talk to clients, is I'd be getting out in front of that. I'd say, hey, Rick, one of the things that I'm sure that you're aware of is that there are a lot of people right now using artificial intelligence to do their job for them. And in some cases, you're not even dealing with a human being. you're dealing with a bot. And yes, it's an educated bot, but it makes mistakes. And one of the things that I think is really important is that we meet on Zoom. This is assuming that we're having a telephone conversation, right? I think it's really important that we meet on Zoom. And anybody else that you're talking to, I really encourage you to make sure that you have a Zoom meeting with them to ensure that you're actually talking to a real human being who truly cares about yours and your family's long-term needs, that has been educated and become well versed over years of being battle tested in this business of doing a lot of transactions and really understanding how to structure loans, and somebody who's going to authentically stay in touch with you long term and make sure that they're managing your debt for you. When would be a convenient time for us to get together? So, point being is this: I think the way that loan originators need to combat, or not just combat, but utilize AI, is utilize it to streamline processes and efficiencies, but use that extra time to have more human interaction, more connection, because I think that that's what people are ultimately going to want. And those of you that are fearful of it replacing you, I think it's a healthy fear, but I also think it's realistic to understand that it's not going to get our minds work out of when our minds are working from fear, Rick, it's very black and white. So if like the law changed tomorrow and it said that you don't need to have an NMLS number to talk to borrowers and quote rates and fees, it's not like the whole country is going to adopt working with AI tomorrow. You know, there
No.
are going to be some people who are going to say, like especially the younger generation, I'll apply on my phone, I'll go back and forth, blah, blah, blah. I don't care that I'm not talking to anybody, but there'll still be a very large segment of the population that doesn't completely trust it. And I think that as an originator, you need to right now be getting really good at your Zoom presentations and your in-person presentations, because they're what's going to separate you from AI and technology in the future and be attractive to people.
So I'm so glad you're off the AI piece because I've been taking the Loan Atlas AI calls and I use AI a lot. I actually teach a CE on how to use AI to grow your business for realtors. So I'm all in on
Oh,
AI.
wow. That's great.
So I'd like to say that for those who are watching this, reach out to the Loan Atlas and check out their AI calls because even for me, I'm walking away learning some amazing stuff, and I use AI at a high level. So the way they set the calls up is if you're a beginner, intermediate, advanced, they touch everybody and help everybody with you leveraging AI. But in saying that, I 100% agree. I try to have all my calls on Zoom because I use Fathom Note Taker. And what I do for my call with my buyers is I'll take the transcript from Fathom Note Taker. I created a project in ChatGPT called Buyer Follow Up. I drop the transcript and buyer follow up. It then spits out a follow up email, something personal we talked about. That's the framework, something personal we talked about, their goals and dreams, what they're looking to do. Because in this industry, well, what's the biggest feedback? People don't listen. Realtors don't listen to me. So I put very clear their goals and dreams. And then I put what I need for next steps. And then I thank them and send the email out. I then have ChatGPT automatically write an email to my assistant on how to build out the file. I then have ChatGPT write a text follow-up campaign in case they don't respond, whatever. But all quick, fast. I just got a realtor referral earlier this week, and I sent the email out to her, and she called me. She's like, "Hey, I want to jump on a call with you and my husband because I was really impressed by your email." She had no idea that I was using AI. She thought that I wrote all that up, and I was very detailed.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
when I shared it with her, I'm like, look, I want to teach you how to do this as well because you'll be viewed just like I am by your clients that you listen, you pay attention, that you're engaged, and um, AI is not going to replace us, but those of us that learn how to use it can massively scale and grow ourselves in our business.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't. You didn't mention this, I don't think, maybe I didn't catch it, but also you could in that custom GPT or that project, you could have one that is geared towards, the prompts that you give it to upload that conversation and extract from it the things that you would want to status the realtor on. So, dear Rick, thanks so much for referring, Bill Jones to me. I spoke with him just now for the first time, and I just wanted to give you a quick download of some of the things that we talked about, exclusive of financial particulars, right? Like we talked about him buying a home, we talked about him buying in a certain price range of this. Oh, by the way, he has two kids, Sally and Billy, ages 6 and 8. Like you can have that project write that download email that you then status the realtor with and give them some valuable information that allows for them to connect with that client on a deeper level because they're probably not doing that as effectively as they should be.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And what also happens from time to time is the buyer might shop you, or the buyer may text you something that you don't know how to respond to. Because I'm becoming very cautious of how I respond to people through text because it could be misread. So I'll take a screenshot of the text. I'll go back to that project where I had the call with them. The project can determine their disc score, their personality. It can leverage psychology off that transcript. So I'll have it help me respond to that text, and I'll use the frame. I like to follow Chris Voss. Never split the difference.
I'm not familiar with them.
Oh, you gotta check out Chris Voss. He's a former FBI hostage negotiator. He wrote the book Never Split the Difference, Master Negotiator. So I'll use his framework in my response to say, like, doesn't it make sense if we move forward or whatever? But you can leverage any type of frameworks. You can use Phil Jones, you can use Tim Braheem, and that's where AI can also help you have better conversations.
Yeah, I mean, it's it's exciting and scary
Yeah,
all at the same time. I mean, I get afraid, like I think of the future generations and what the world is going to be like if everybody's utilizing AI. I'm worried about jobs. That's one of the things I was talking to Barry about. I said, I don't think that people are giving enough credit. There's this natural tendency to refer to AI as the adventation of the internet, right? So, like when the internet first started, everybody was worried about job losses, and it actually created a lot of jobs. Okay, and we had a big technology boom as a result of it. I'm not sure that this is the same thing. I hope I'm wrong. My worry is that it's going to eliminate so many jobs that we're going to have some economic challenges. And if we do, I mean, not that we want this for people, but it does or potentially could result in lower interest rates, right? I mean, if the unemployment numbers over the next few years start to go up because, middle position jobs get eliminated, I mean, just think about Uber, for God's sakes. I mean, how many people have that as a side hustle in this country? I don't know, but it's a lot. I mean, you could probably go to chat and get the answer right now. But it's a lot of people that make some side money, and some people do that as their only job. I think Waymo and Tesla with their robo taxi. I mean, like they're going to probably eliminate Uber drivers within 5 years, right? So that's
man.
all of a sudden a segment of income that's gone. So how many other, and that's just one segment. So I think originators should be really thinking about it from a perspective of how they streamline their job and how they use it as a strategic advantage, because those that don't are going to probably be eliminated,
Right.
right?
No, absolutely right. Circling back around to the realtor. I know a lot of the students you coach and through your program, would you say that the mortgage advisor is able to generate more leads for the realtor partner or generate more business for the realtor partner than your traditional loan officer?
Well, ideally, yes. I mean, when you think about it, if you're taking an approach, just slow this down for a minute. Like, if my approach is to serve, like, and I'm taking that very seriously as an originator, like, my job is to serve you, Rick, like, and to really do the best possible job that I can for you, which is that's what my attitude was when I was an originator. What does that mean? It means I need to be really educated. Like, I need to invest in my education and really understand the financial markets, understand loan products, understand how to manage money for people. That also means that I need to align myself with some good accountants, financial advisors, estate planning attorneys, life insurance agents. So if you have a deficiency as a borrower, I can introduce you to one of them. And then it also means that I need to have a really good CRM, and that a primary component of my job is to manage debt and to not just go out and try to get new deals, but to look at the people that I've done loans for and to stay in touch with them and to seize opportunities when they become available to save them money. Okay, if that's all I'm doing, and you may say, well, there's a lot of other things you, yeah, that's why you build a team. What comes first, the cart or the horse? Right? I mean, you got to do those things to generate business, and you got to trust that if you do those things really well, that the rest will take care of itself. So if I'm doing those things really well, and I've got a process, a perfect loan process that spits out a great result every time, to where when the deal's done, the client's like so thrilled. Okay, and then I'm staying in touch with them. The byproduct of that is going to be that they're going to refer people to you. right? I mean, we refer because we want to reciprocate. When somebody treats us well and takes good care of us, we want to reward them and thank them. We don't even, I never even asked for referrals. I would just get them, and I would get a lot of them. I remember one day I came home, and it was a long day at work in 1998, and my wife poured me a drink in the kitchen, and she said to me, "What's going on?" I'm like, I don't even know. Like it just keeps coming. And she's like, "What does?" I'm like, "The phone just keeps ringing. Like I got five more deals today." Like it was just like out of just it happened. It reached the tipping point and the floodgates opened, and I started just getting a ton of referrals to where I didn't need to market anymore. I didn't need to worry anymore. It's just like the only thing I need to worry about is facilitating the loans. So from there, okay, if you're getting referred people, you need to build into your presentation, and whether it's once you're getting referred to somebody from a past client or it's a repeat customer and they're not attached to a realtor, you need to have a script in there. And the script is just something like, "Hey, Rick, before we continue, I'm really fortunate to work with a couple of the very best real estate agents in this marketplace. And frankly, based upon my experience, there are not a lot of great ones. And I happen to be lucky enough to work with two of the great ones or three of the great ones or whatever it is. Okay. A great real estate agent really understands the market, understands how to write a contract, understands how to negotiate a contract, and really has a system in place to make the process of buying a home incredibly efficient. I'm not sure if you're aligned with a real estate agent yet, but I sure would love to have an opportunity to introduce you to someone who I think would do a spectacular job for you. Would you be interested in that? It's a simple yes or no answer. And if they say no, they're not going to say no and don't ever call me anymore. I never want to talk to you again. They're just going to say no, I already have somebody. And then you're going to be like, okay, no problem. But what if you did that on every single lead you talked to that wasn't referred to you by a realtor? Because you wouldn't want to do that to someone who's referred to you by a realtor.
Would it be good?
It's just a numbers game, bro. Like at some point, you're going to have a certain percentage that people go, yeah, actually, that would be great. And you do the same thing with accountants and the same thing with financial advisors, and you become a referrer. And the more business you refer out, the more people you're going to have out there that want to take care of you in return.
Yep. So for those realtors that are watching this, what does it look like when partnering with a mortgage advisor? How does that help the realtor's conversion rates and repeat business? So I know we talked about, providing that service, getting referrals, but can you think of like some data or some stats, like how working with a mortgage advisor improves that realtor's conversions and repeat business?
I actually don't have any
Don't.
data or stats to
Cool.
support that. I think that, you could go to maybe Dave Savage on that. I mean, because
Mhm.
he might be tracking that kind of stuff from many, many years of promoting this type of concept. I just know for sure, like 1,000% for sure, that it's a factual statement because not only was it factual for me, but I mean, I happen to have coached some of the greatest loan originators in the United States over the last 15 years, and I know exactly how they do their business and I see the results. And there are people that I coach that don't do it the way that we're talking about, and they're doing three or four loans a month. And then there
Mhm.
are people that I coach that are doing it like this and do 30 or 40 loans a month and have incredibly loyal referral partners, incredibly loyal realtor partners, 13, 14, 15 great realtors that give them all of their business, and it's because of the things that we're talking about. They're acting as a true mortgage advisor, and it's resulting in that realtor getting what they want, going to the top of the call, what we talked about. Like, what do they want? They want to make more money. They want to feel less stress. They want to feel more balance in their life. You can provide them with all of that as a trusted mortgage advisor. You can solve all of those issues for them by being great at what you do for a living. You can, it's like you got to be a real partner. We love to talk about referral partner relationships. What does that mean? Well, in my mind, a partner is somebody who gives at least as much, if not more, than they get in return. That's a partner. A partner is somebody who's looking out for that other person's best interests all the time. That's a partner. You do those things, you get the word that you want more than any word: loyalty.
Love that. That's the clip. Well, lastly, wrapping up, I have one question, and then I'll let you wrap up if anything else you want to add. But for those loan officers watching this video, how do you get, if you're a mortgage advisor, how do you get a realtor to refer you better? A lot of times these realtors say, call Rick, see if compare rates. And we know if they say that already, we fail. So how would you coach a realtor to refer you, or how did you when you were doing it?
Yeah, that's a softball that you just threw at me. So thanks. That'll be if I didn't do any, if I didn't teach you anything, those of you watching, if I didn't teach you anything over the last half hour or whatever it's been, at least I'll get to teach you something here. So, yeah, what I used to do was simply this is, I'm going to give you an adjusted version of that script right now, real time, associated with this conversation. The truth. Remember, the truth is the easiest script. You go to your realtor partners and you say, "Hey, I just watched an interview with two respected people in the mortgage industry, a guy named Rick Guerrero and a guy named Tim Braheem, and they were talking about something that like really triggered a light bulb in my head. It occurred to me that I have never asked you, and I want to apologize first of all, I've never asked you, how do you want me to edify you? Like, what are the things that you would like me to say about you that you don't feel comfortable saying about yourself because it would come off as being arrogant? So, like, when you're nice enough to refer a lead to me, like, I think one of the things that I need to be doing as a partner is making sure that I'm sharing with that prospective buyer why they're fortunate to be working with you. Could you share with me what you would like me to say about you? And if if they say, "Gosh, I don't know," or whatever, then you can coach them on that, right? Well, let's talk about that. Like, what are the things that you think that you do well? What do you think makes you unique and special? Let's develop a value proposition. But either way, they're going to be incredibly flattered. I never once had a real estate agent say, "No, I don't want to share that with you." In fact, it was always the opposite, which is like,
Yeah.
"Wow, oh gosh, yeah, thank you, yeah." I've been in the business 20 years. I'm passionate about about fulfilling the American dream for people, but blah 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 blah. I think I stay in touch with my clients. They're going to share with you what it is that they want you to say about them. It's always easier to say something about somebody else and edify somebody else than it is to brag on yourself. Okay. Once you're done with that part of the conversation, now you've earned the right to just simply ask the following question. "Hey, Rick, thanks so much for sharing that with me. And I'm going to definitely build this into my presentation up front when a client calls me that you're nice enough to refer to me. It just occurred to me, would you be okay if I shared with you a little bit about the things that I would like you to say about me when you are kind enough to refer someone to me?" They're not going to say no. I never had anybody say no. Look, if they said no, then that'd be all the information that I needed to know that this isn't going to be a good partnership. Okay. They're
I'm
going to
looking for
say,
some more.
yeah, they're going to say, sure. And then I'm going to teach them. I'm going to say, when you send somebody to me, one of the things that I'd like you to do is share with them that at the end of the day, what makes me different is that I'm actually a debt manager. Like I'm the guy that manages the debt side of the balance sheet, just like you have a financial advisor that manages the asset side of the balance sheet. And that my team is dynamic and that we have a perfect loan process and all of these things that you're going to, whatever your script is as an originator of how you want them to sell you, you then share that with them. And you guys have an agreement now that they're going to refer you that way. And that when that person calls you and connects with you, you're going to edify them. That's what a great partnership looks like.
Love that. Well, thanks so much for sharing that and for your time and sharing everything. Is there anything you want to leave us with as we wrap this up? No.
No, brother, thank you for having me. I appreciate it to those of you who hung in there and listened to this entire conversation, and I hope you got some value from it.
Awesome. And for those that are watching, if you want to find out more about the loan atlas, there will be a link in the comments below the description of the video. So check it out. Check out the loan atlas. You could also look up Tim Braheem on YouTube. I've watched a lot of his videos. He talked briefly about the perfect loan process. You definitely want to check the video out about that because that's an incredible process. But thanks for watching, and until next
Hey,
time.
Rick, I don't mean to put you
Oh,
on the hook here. So sorry,
put me
I
on the
just
hook.
thought something when you said that about the link. I think that the best way to really understand the loan atlas is to have someone do a demo for you. Would you mind if we put a link to Nancy Leahy's,
Absolutely.
okay, great, calendar in this? And then
Absolutely.
if you're interested in just spending 30 minutes and having Nancy walk you through the site, I think that that's the best way for people to really digest and understand it.
And Nancy, by the way, is fantastic. I probably text her every other day. She is
Cool.
awesome. She's, but just to kind of talk about the loan atlas. I've been in a lot of coaching programs, and sometimes you're a little lost. You don't know where to go, what to do. Nancy, she just texted me when I first joined, and I ask her a question. She points me in the right direction. She's been amazing.
Well,
So
thanks for sharing that, and I'll make sure I pass that along to her too.
please do. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks, buddy.
Bye.
Bye.
Stop recording.